Carlo Ancelotti is considered one of the best managers of all time, being the only manager to win a trophy in each of the top 5 leagues. He has coached some of Europe's biggest clubs such as Bayern Munich, AC Milan, and Juventus. However, most would consider his time at Real Madrid to be the most impressive on his resume. Across 2 stints spanning 6 seasons, Carlo Ancelotti has won 15 trophies with Real Madrid, including 3 Champions Leagues, making him the most successful Real Madrid coach of all time. And that is why today the boys and I will be tier listing all of Ancelotti's signings at Real Madrid to crown who was his best ever signing at the club. Boys, are we ready?
Let's go, Mili. I'm excited for this video. But before we get into the video, make sure to check out our Patreon. We are nearing 600 patrons. So if you guys haven't joined yet, make sure to check it out. And if you're part of those 600, you guys are obviously the GOAT. But anyways, Mili, let's get to the first player.
So boys, we will start with Carlo Ancelotti's first ever signing at Real Madrid. Let's see who it is. Winning the Golden Boy of Malaga is no small feat, and Isco was brought in for $30 million to be one of Real Madrid's next pillars. Let's see where we put him.
Starting off with a bang already. Isco.
Wow, what a player.
Quel jugador. I remember there was a couple games against Italy where
Smoked us.
Isco cooked us all the time. This brother was a special player.
Also, before going into it, let's preface it. All these signings are amazing. The brother we were licking, June 30th, signed 3 of the best players of the decade almost.
We'll get into them. But the first official signing by Carlo Ancelotti was Isco, and what a player he was.
So we'll need to be extra critical. That's all I'm saying.
Because we're speaking about Real Madrid here. If this was a Manchester United tier list, this could be potentially the best signing.
Yes.
But it's Real Madrid. So sadly, and it's kind of crazy to say, he kind of had for his ability, what he could have been, it was a bit underwhelming.
So
we're being critical here.
Super critical.
So listen, right under the best signing tier, it is Galactico tier. Do we consider him a Galactico, or do we put him in the streets won't forget tier?
I'm leaning streets won't forget.
It's a very tough drop from Galactico to streets won't forget, but he was a very decent signing.
5 CLs.
I love Isco, man.
3 La Ligas. I mean, you know, come on.
Isco unfortunately came into a time where the cam position was kind of dying off. Real Madrid was moving into the 4-3-3 situation, and he still had amazing years. He was one of the best players that one year where they won the Champions League. But Isco, I don't think he's there. He's not with the greatest.
Started Champions League finals. He started in 2017, Champions League final, but I think considering the magnitude we are talking about here, wasn't an out-and-out starter. And then near the end of his Real Madrid career, unfortunately, his influence waned off. I'm going to say streets won't forget on this one.
Streets won't forget. And Golden Boy at Malaga.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that one.
And he joined as the Golden Boy. Galactico, we have to save for like the people who really put an influence on Real Madrid as a club, like Kroos, Modric, Ronaldo type players.
Yeah, because unfortunately, Isco, although he has the CV of some of the best players of all time, he wasn't the super key piece for one of those. But he was part of the squad.
Yeah, very crucial part of the squad. But we'll see the next player.
Isco Disco.
So Isco, we all love him, but unfortunately, he will be in the streets won't forget tier. Gentlemen, out of those 3 signings, let's see the second one that he signed on that glorious June 30th. A La Fabrica product, Carvajal came from Bayer Leverkusen for $6.5 million and became one of the bargains of Real Madrid's history. Where do we put him on this tier list?
Poof.
Carvajal.
It doesn't slow down, does it?
June 30 was a banger.
June 30,
Somebody stop that
2013,
man.
that's a day in Real Madrid
That's
history.
a national holiday in Madrid, possibly, because this day should be commemorized for the rest of history.
Agreed.
I mean, come on. This is the greatest, one of the greatest
right
players
backs
that represent Real Madrid potentially in their history.
Yeah, and I think you could even add one of the best right backs we've ever seen, especially of our generation.
He's definitely top 5 of all time.
Oh my Lord.
I would consider him there, yes. But I think the recency bias around him.
What recency bias, bro? Just that his
he was injured all season.
I know, but that Euros performance, as soon as they won the Euros.
Man of the match.
Exactly. And in the finals,
Man of the match in the CL final, by the way.
This guy was one of the crucial pieces at Real Madrid, and I think we've seen it now now that he's been injured. The brother, Real Madrid has slowed down a little bit.
Yeah, I understand. But listen, his CV, even better than Isco's. 6 Champions Leagues, 4 La Ligas. He even made Champions League Team of the Season 3 times in his career. So we talk about consistency.
This is Galactico, bro.
Yeah,
it's a Galactico.
I would personally put him as Galactico because it's very, very difficult to become an icon at one of these clubs, and he is an icon.
How much did they buy him, that brother, for?
6.5 million cojones from Bayer Leverkusen.
Bro, that is a steal.
And the fact that he even had this loan move to begin with, and they still believed in him
La
after
Fabrica.
that.
He's a La Fabrica product also, too. Crazy.
Yeah.
So
no,
they
that's
brought him
crazy.
back home.
Yeah.
And listen, that's one of the players I think even newer Real Madrid fans will definitely say Galactico sign.
Yeah, 100%. No debate.
So boys, on June 30th, we had Isco and Carvajal. Let's see the third player Carlo Ancelotti sign on that fateful day. Coming from Sao Paulo for 6 million euros, Casemiro was a pillar of some of Real Madrid's best ever years. Does he make it into the Galacticos tier?
Everyone should have a day off work on June 30th in Madrid.
Madrid, nobody working on
They were
it.
cooking that day.
Florentino Perez woke up on some random day, 30th of June, and decided, yeah, I'm gonna f the world up for the next 10 years.
Let me pull the trigger.
No, this is a core piece. People remember that midfield for years.
Price?
Brother, even less than Carvajal. According to Transfer Market, 6 million euros.
And they scammed us for 31-year-old Casemiro or some shit for
60?
70 mil?
70?
Brother, who is scouting for these players? This guy was on a generational run on that day. The brother was signed for that amount of money and was a pillar for Real Madrid. That midfield three, without him, would be very different. He was the destroyer there. Honestly, this might be a Galactico.
This is a Galactico as well.
It's going to be tough, but it's a Galactico.
Yeah, that Kroos, Modric, Casemiro midfield won.
One of the best all-time midfields. It was basically on the same level as Iniesta, or maybe arguably they won more than the Iniesta, Xavi, and Busquets midfield.
We'll leave it up to debate that one.
Yeah, that's a debate and a half.
They won more, bro.
So Casemiro will join Carvajal in the Galactico tier. Stay tuned to the end to figure out who will be the best ever Carlo Ancelotti signing. But boys, the next one for 32 million euros. It was Illarramendi. Transferring from Real Sociedad for 32 million euros, Illarramendi was destined to be one of Real Madrid's best, but unfortunately it did not pan out. Where do we put him on this tier list?
Oh, brother. This one's the first air ball.
This might be a miss.
This might be a win that didn't even hit the rim.
That's the half-court heave that just like fucking didn't even come close.
Yeah, unfortunately, I would not put him at the same level as the last three, let's just say. So I don't think he's going to be in the Galactico tier, but do you see him either in Streets Won't Forget, Streets Have Forgotten, or Ass?
He's definitely not in Streets Won't Forget because Isco's there. We have to be
Definitely
critical.
not.
We have to remember
Very,
we are
very
very
critical.
critical because the standards are so high. This is probably like for Manchester United, if I have to put an equivalent, it's like Matteo Darmian.
Hey,
All right player. All right player. And he ended up having a decent career, but the standards, you know? So I'm actually going to say this is the first ass for me. He spent only 2 years at the club, my
I'm
brother.
not against it. I'm not against it.
Unfortunately, for 32 million, compare that to a Casemiro, Carvajal, 6 million,
Yes.
6.5 million.
And we're looking only at the Real Madrid stint, because obviously he was a serviceable player in La Liga, but at Real Madrid, he only had 2 years. He
I think
wasn't all
around that time, Barcelona was also buying like Ivan Rakitic for around the same price, you know? It's like stuff like that.
Only made 90 appearances for Real Madrid, but CV not too bad. A Champions League, Copa del Rey, a Super Cup, and a Club World Cup. So we take that one home. But are we putting him in ass?
I'm good with ass.
If this was we were being a bit more friendly, I probably would have put Streets Forgot, but we're being very critical, so ass.
Agreed.
So Illarramendi, you are the first ass. Carlo Ancelotti signing, very unfortunate. But boys, the next one broke some records. 101 million euros. It is Gareth Bale. With a record-breaking transfer of 101 million euros, Gareth Bale is considered one of Real Madrid's most iconic players of the 2010s. But where do we put him on this tier list?
Galacticos.
Now hear me out. Okay. Now hear me out. We're being extremely critical. Okay?
What?
No.
Brother.
The price should somewhat not be Carvajal Casemiro for 6 million. Can we compare that to Gareth Bale for 100? He did less at the club than those two.
He scored big.
Arguably.
He scored some big goals.
Very contentious. It was a very contentious tenure at Real Madrid because a lot of people did not like the fact he'd play better for Wales instead of Real Madrid sometimes, play golf instead of Real Madrid.
That was near the end, though.
Let me ask you this. Is he closer to Isco or Casemiro in terms of signing?
Casemiro, in my opinion.
I would say.
Okay, if you guys think that, I don't mind putting him in Galactico.
Are you saying Isco?
I'm saying for me, it would probably be right there in between. Like, he's not as good as the Carvajal Casemiro signings, but he's still good, but like, he's not Isco.
I think Bale is disrespected. As a
I
Real
agree.
Madrid, he is a Real Madrid legend.
Agreed.
What he's done in Champions League, especially in those finals, the bicycle kick, just the brilliance this guy was.
But
he's one of the best.
He did low-key have an irrelevant second half to his career compared to other GOATs.
It was short.
Yes,
Well,
it was
he
short-lived.
spent 9 seasons at Real Madrid, but I think people remember maybe 4 or 5 of them.
Yes.
Like, I would say after 2017 or 2018, Gareth Bale was not the same Gareth Bale that we were accustomed to
It's
watching.
true. Yeah, after 2018, he didn't have any individual accolades at Real
Yeah.
Madrid. So, I listen, I still think he's one of our generation's best.
I agree. Honestly, one of the best British-born players of all time.
But if we're gonna put into injuries into account, wage, transfers, transfer amount, maybe below Isco.
No,
below
above.
Casemiro,
Yeah.
higher than Isco, I would say.
Yeah, but I will still put him Galactico.
he's a
bro. It's
Galacticos.
Gareth Bale.
Boys, those were the signings of Carlo Ancelotti's first year at Real Madrid, but it didn't stop in the second because his 6th ever signing was Toni Kroos. After winning the Champions League with Bayern Munich, Toni Kroos made his way to Real Madrid for 25 million euros and has become one of Real Madrid's all-time greats. Where do we put him on this tier list?
This brother don't miss. Even in the heat of battle, he don't miss.
I just need you to understand, brother, 25 million
25 mil.
for Toni Kroos. And you had
I
Casemiro in
spent
the
60
midfield.
for Ugarte.
Bro, we're talking about Real Madrid here.
Oh my God.
This is insane.
His brothers were kicking.
No, listen, Toni Kroos,
Galactico.
Galactico, and I will be the first to say it.
Definite
He's contender.
Definite contender.
He's
As
contender.
best?
Definite contender.
I failed to find another player that has been that influential in the midfield for Real Madrid. I think he was pushed to the side. He wasn't necessarily the first on that list in a lot of people's lists because Modric would be there. But I think near the end of the last couple seasons, you've
Just
kinda
got better.
seen-
Bro, he retired when we were debating should he win the Ballon d'Or. We were debating if
right.
Germany would have won the Euros,
he was there.
he
was in
would winning the
contention.
Ballon d'Or, bro.
Would've helped
Retired.
him.
Yes.
Imagine winning the Ballon d'Or and you're retired. That is the level that Kroos was playing at for Real Madrid, Germany. So, brother, this is not even a debate, Galactico. We will have a conversation.
But at the end of the video, we have to determine best signing, okay? Is Toni Kroos worth 4 Casemiros? That's what we have to determine at the end of the video. Like value for money.
I think
Like value
so.
for money. Like
We're gonna talk about
Casemiro
value.
for 6 mil, bro.
Bro, Kroos was a player that was playing a CL final the year before for Bayern. And you're telling me Real Madrid just snag.
25 mil.
25. No problem. Here you go. Snag. Crazy. Bayern whiff, in my honest opinion.
That's a Sun moment. That's like you just got
Tough.
Sun.
It's tough.
Yeah.
And he was highly rated in the Bundesliga too.
Toni Kroos definitely deserves to be in the Galactico tier. The next player up, listen, I think people would say, didn't reach the height that people wanted. It is James Rodríguez. After some of the most iconic performances at the World Cup, James Rodríguez made a bold $75 million move to Real Madrid. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out. So where do we put him in this tier list?
I think this is the official first Streets Forgot player.
The issue with that I'm
Is
having.
that Streets didn't forget.
That's why, yeah.
But like it's just
In the
for
context.
namesake, you know?
Bro, James, I would say because of his international work, he kind of pushes him into the streets, won't forget.
Yes.
But if we're talking specifically Real Madrid, it was a very forgettable tenure.
People don't forget the transfer, but the tenure exactly.
Yeah.
The games that he played were very forgettable.
Like
Yeah,
you're thinking of a Bale, you know the moments where he was great. A Kroos, a Carvajal got man of the match, but James Rodríguez, like I don't really remember
Like, do you
big
understand?
moments.
Do you understand that people remember Marc Bartra's name because of Gareth Bale? Because
of the
he
move.
cooked it.
Yeah.
Now you know what I'm talking about. Those are the iconic moments we were talking about here. Unfortunately, James doesn't have that. He had moments, but not iconic moments.
And he didn't have the longevity of Isco. Like he had
Exceptional
one good
player.
year. James had one good year at Real. He had one good like team of the season worthy year.
Mm-hmm.
But after that and before that, it was really like mid.
Also keep in mind 75 million
Yeah.
right after the World Cup. And we know that World Cup gimmick. it hits a lot of teams hard.
And then he went
Low
right
tax.
back to Monaco and tore it up again. But that's a whole other.
I would say Streets won't forget, but you guys let me know.
I'm gonna say no.
Streets
I'm
have
saying
forgotten?
Streets
Streets
forgot.
Streets forgot James.
Bro, Isco
The
is
Real Madrid Streets, at least.
James does not deserve to be in the same tier as Isco.
Agreed.
So James will unfortunately be in Streets Have Forgotten. The next one, brother, this guy was a staple between the posts. It is Keylor Navas. After a team of the season year with Levante, Keylor Navas made his way to Real Madrid for 10 million euros and became their starter through some of their most successful years. Where does he rank among these Real Madrid greats?
Now we're back to Heat.
This is a hit.
This is a hit.
This is a
Definitely
very
hit.
big
They've
hit,
all
but
been hits, to
do
be
we
honest.
consider this a Galactico? I know Varvar's had his reservations about Navas in the past.
Keylor Navas had heavy super team tax, but he was still a very good goalie.
But he
Like
started- he was
they
nuts.
bought him from a Costa Rican club, no, for like 6 mil.
I will fact check that.
Because that was right after the World Cup when he dropped a fucking insane World Cup.
Ain't no way, bro.
Against Italy to kick them out in the World
Yes,
Cup.
he was crazy that
Oh.
World Cup. Crazy goal. I remember, bro, this Navas guy's insane. How's he saving everything?
crazy.
But this is the same as Isco for me. This is Streets Won't Forget. Like
I would debate that he's actually in Streets Won't Forget because he was that good for Real Madrid.
that's what I said. Streets Won't Forget, brother.
Oh, but you said James.
No, I said Isco, I think.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, Isco's in Streets Won't Forget.
yes,
Yes.
he should be with Isco.
I would say so only because I think it was very tough to one-up Casillas and his Real Madrid tenure. But
But he
Bro, this
did, bro.
was
Towards the end, I remember saying, bro,
Navas
Keylor
is
Navas should be starting over Casillas. I remember towards the end of Casillas' tenure, I remember saying, bro, Navas is the better goalkeeper.
True.
he never won La Liga best goalkeeper with Real Madrid.
But that's because those were the years where Ter
Barcelona?
Stegen just got started. Like that was the years like
He only won it with Levante. That's kind of
All
crazy.
Black just got started as well. I think Courtois was there also at Atletico Madrid.
I don't know. Streets Won't Forget, sure, I guess, because that level of Galactico, you're talking about people that have changed Real Madrid history. He's part of Real Madrid history, but hasn't necessarily changed it.
But he
So,
was there for a long time and did a very good job.
Yeah.
It's the same as Isco.
3 CLs, only 1 La Liga, surprisingly.
See, the thing is that he left and Courtois just became even better. So when someone replaces you and becomes even better, you kind of have to drop a bit, I think.
Kind of forgotten.
Yeah, like a Kroos, nobody replaced him,
It's true.
you know?
Very, very true. Okay, so Streets Won't Forget it is for Keylor Navas.
GOAT.
So Navas will be joining Isco in that Streets Won't Forget tier, but the next one came from Manchester United. It is Chicharito on loan. Coming from Manchester United on loan, Chicharito was a fan favorite, but unfortunately didn't get the playing time that some say he may have deserved. Where does he rank on this tier list?
Chicharito, another South American baller, legend. But
South American. All right, we're just not saying the right locations of
North
the countries
American.
now.
North America.
okay, Central America.
Nah,
North American.
that's a lot. 0 for 2. Next America.
one.
Try the
go
next one.
A bit more higher up.
North America.
North
Mexican,
American, there it is.
Mexican legend.
And all the Mexicans in the Patreon and Discord, this is who you claim?
my God,
Oh,
bro.
my,
This is
here
who
we
you
go.
claim
One mistake.
as your clan leader?
One mistake, and Varvar's all over that,
It's
brother.
Central America. You could call it North America, whatever. Chicharito's still a legend.
This is who claims top torta pounder, by the way.
I am a torta pounder. However, I remember him more at Manchester United more than Real Madrid. So
Streets forgot, my brother.
Streets kind of forgot.
But he was actually decent. He only started 12. I actually looked into this because I knew you were doing this video, and I actually wondered because back then I didn't really follow Real Madrid that much. It was more. I
We're
was
also very young.
Purely getting into Manchester United. So he actually only started 12 games, but got 18 goals and assists. So he was actually very good, a very
baller.
good super sub. And they were debating buying him. But yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of Real Madrid's history, this is just a player that came and went, you know?
Yeah, I would say Streets Won't Forgot.
Streets forgot.
Streets Forgot. Sorry.
Yeah.
Streets won't forgot.
No, sorry. That was brain fart a la Max. But yeah, Streets have forgotten.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But not ass because, listen, it was a loan.
He's good.
It wasn't a 30 million Illarramendi signing.
It was still a good signing. It's like James. You could somewhat justify that actually I can't justify James, but like it happened.
James was insane.
And it was all right, and it happened.
Yeah.
Boys, we're now on to the final Carlo Ancelotti signing of his first Real Madrid tenure. And unfortunately, it looks like it was a dud. It was Lucas Silva from Cruzeiro. After a $13 million move from Cruzeiro, Lucas Silva was destined to become one of Real Madrid's pillars for the next 10 years. Unfortunately, that did not happen. So where does he land on this tier list?
No wonder brother got sacked after he only got this signing. Holy shit.
Brother, I'm looking at this.
It's a miss.
13 million they paid on the brother.
But let's add some context. I believe he had to retire due to heart issues.
Okay.
So let's add some context. But my brother, you're still ass.
Unfortunately, only 8 La Liga appearances for Real Madrid, and he didn't win a major trophy. Unfortunately, he played in the one time where Real Madrid didn't win a single
How's
trophy.
there everyone around you's aura farming every single day, and you walk out with one what did he win? The Bernabeu trophy?
He won the 2015 Trofeo Santiago Bernabéu.
That's a charity match right there.
Unfortunately.
you got Carvajal walking out with 5 Champions League. You got this guy with 6 Champions League. This brother.
Very unfortunate, but unfortunately, this is an ass tier.
Yes.
It has to be.
He was low-key a promising CDM at 1.2. I remember they said, oh, this is the future of the Brazilian national team. And then my brother ended up stanking up the joint
At least
Real
enjoyed Madrid.
Yeah.
Beautiful city.
Gets a jersey with his name on the back.
Yeah,
of it,
at least.
So unfortunately, after 2015, Carlo Ancelotti was not with Real Madrid, but he did return in 2021, and he started his second tenure off with a free transfer signing. Let's see who it was. After a trophy-laden career with Bayern Munich, David Alaba made the switch to Real Madrid and became one of their highest earners at the club. What looked like to be a bargain buy unfortunately became a contentious transfer. Where does he land on this tier list?
This is one of those free but not so free transfers.
Oh, look at that
Free on
salary.
paper, but you paying for it.
His wages,
Brother, it's bad.
300-something K, I believe.
And unfortunately, a player that I think Real Madrid brought in because he was playing at that caliber, but hasn't been playing at that caliber.
He was
started off
very
well.
good.
Yeah, he started off very well, but since then has been battling injuries and back-to-back injuries now. I would personally
I know
label
where
it
I'm
as
putting him.
streets forgot.
I agree with that.
We're being critical here.
Super critical. Because, listen, look at who has Streets Won't Forget. It's Isco and Navas. I don't think he has reached that.
But
impact
streets have
has-
forgotten. We have James and Chicharito, who arguably, I think over time, people will remember those two more than Alaba.
And Alaba?
Yes, but it's not an ass.
Potentially.
It's not Illara. It's comparable more to James and Chicharito than Illarramendi and Lucas Silva.
Yeah.
He still was a starting CB on a CL winning team that they had.
He won 2 Champions Leagues, right?
I'm going to double check, but
I think he was more involved in one than the other one.
Yeah, obviously because of injuries. But listen, he was brought in as a starter. He did not start many games, especially in recent times. Injuries. I'm very happy with putting him Streets Forgot.
listen, I do think the injuries played a major role in this, but yeah, I would say streets have forgotten.
Yeah, I think people will always remember Alaba for being a Bayern player, and that's okay.
Agreed.
It was still not bad for Real Madrid, but people will always remember him from Bayern.
Bayern legend.
So joining David Alaba in the 2021 transfer window was a very, very good French player. It was Eduardo Camavinga. Let's see where we put him. Coming from Stade Rennais for 31 million euros, Camavinga looked to be a young piece in one of Carlo Ancelotti's trophy-laden teams. Where does he rank on this list?
Now we're getting into
is
those.
tough.
Now we're getting into those modern day players that have been very good.
Yeah.
Well, now listen, most of the players that will be coming up now are on the team, currently on the team.
Yes.
So we have to take it with a grain of salt because the players that we have spoken about already have finished Real Madrid careers, whereas these ones are still winning trophies, hopefully, with Real Madrid.
Do we take into account the potential as well? Like, as a signing as a whole?
It's
like,
tough.
bro. Real question right now, okay? And we've used this logic throughout, so we're gonna reuse it. Is he closer to Isco Navas or Carvajal, Casemiro, Bale, Kroos? For me, Isco Navas, streets won't forget.
You
right
would
now.
even...
I would say...
Definitely Streets Won't Forget. I don't think he touches the Galacticos.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think he's there yet.
No,
I do
definitely
not
not.
think he's there yet, unfortunately.
I think he could end up there though.
Very, very good player. I think the potential is unreal with this guy. He could play left back, he could play CDM, and at very high levels. But I don't think he could touch Carvajal, Casemiro, Kroos, and Bale. Not yet, at least.
He's been part of those teams, though, with those players.
Oh, they won the CL with him making the most appearances of any player in the squad.
Yes, which is a very great achievement. But now without those veteran players there, like he does need to take a bigger step.
I think every year, I think last year too, He had the most minutes played of any Real Madrid player, if I'm not mistaken.
He's very reliable. We all remember people joking around saying you could play him in every single position on the pitch.
Camavinga bus.
Yeah.
He's really good.
Camavinga.
We all know. I wouldn't put him in that Galactico tier, but he has been one of Real Madrid's most reliable players.
100%.
He's definitely streets won't forget. And he's living right now, so, I mean, streets are not forgetting this guy.
So Camavinga is in the streets won't forget tier, but let's see what happens when he finishes his Real Madrid tenure. But boys, the next one was another free signing, this one from Chelsea. After winning the Champions League with Chelsea, Antonio Rüdiger made the switch to Real Madrid on a free and became their de facto starter in the back. Where does he rank amongst Carlo Ancelotti's best ever signings? I personally would say
wages weren't
bottom,
crazy either.
Bottom of Galactico.
I low-key think this is on, I'm not even going to cap, on the Bale level of signing.
He has been Real Madrid's most consistent defender since he came in.
Bro,
he's been his best.
Free.
Yeah, it was. I don't know
Got the best center back in the world for free.
I don't know how Chelsea gave him away like that. I really don't understand it.
Chelsea, I mean, we don't understand a lot of things Chelsea do, but yeah, Rüdiger, I would definitely say Galactico tier.
Yeah.
He might actually make it. But I think bottom of Galactico. He doesn't, again, he doesn't compete with these other guys.
Obviously.
He did win 2 Champions League like the rest have, but yeah, he was a good presence to have.
For me, Rüdiger has already had more impact at Real Madrid than Isco, personally.
It's tough.
It's tough, but he has been the starter since he got there, pretty much.
Bro, at one point in his Real Madrid tenure, he was the best center back in the world. That's great. That's if you got that for free. That has to be a Galactico signing. Like, I don't know if there's a definition for another word.
You know what though? Because Galactico signing is like players that generally go for a bunch of money. Like Real Madrid has spent a bag on him, but the fact that they got him even for free.
That's a crazy signing.
And he's still playing high level right now.
Yes.
So I'm okay with that. Galacticos, bottom of Galacticos.
So Rüdiger is the first modern Real Madrid signing to be in that Galactico tier. But the next one, boys, this one was not free. This one was for $80 million. It was TchouamÉni. Coming from Monaco for 80 million euros, TchouamÉni looked to be the next French superstar to take over Real Madrid. Unfortunately, that has not gone exactly to plan. Where does he land on this list?
TchouamÉni.
We're being harsh here, correct?
Yes,
we have to be very critical.
Started off his Real Madrid career very promising, very good in his first 2 years or first year.
Now it's just free
Since
fall.
then,
Ass.
low-key ass, low-key. I would put this in Street Forgot. 80 million for TchouamÉni. That's very comparable to me for Alaba or James.
Because the thing is that his whole Real Madrid career hasn't been ass.
Yes.
It's just been the last year or so that it's been very, very poor. But you could also say Real Madrid injuries haven't helped the situation either. He's kind of been shoehorned.
Bro, he's played center back. Yeah, exactly. And I don't think that's his position at all. So honestly, like the blame is a bit on the coach, a bit on him. He hasn't been performing. I don't think he's ass. I think he's Streets Forgot.
I think under Xabi he will. I think he'll move into Streets Won't Forget because Xabi Alonso likes using center mids like Palacios at Bayer Leverkusen, who people say played incredible under him. TchouamÉni is a very similar type of player, so I see potentially them being able to use
resurgence of TchouamÉni.
So for now, TchouamÉni will be in the Streets half forgotten tier, but the next one came from England, and I think we all know who it is. It is Jude Bellingham. One of the most hyped players in our generation, Jude Bellingham made the switch from Dortmund to Real Madrid for 113 million euros, and he has not disappointed since. Where does he rank amongst Carlo's best?
Well, actually, Mili, he came from Germany.
Well, he played for a German team, but he's actually English.
Galactico.
I think this is one of the easier Galactico ones, and especially for a more recent signing, this is unprecedented.
You signed the it doesn't even matter the price because honestly, this could have been 200 million. You're still saying Galactico, but bro, you signed the reincarnation of like Zidane practically.
I don't like that comp. I really don't think he's a reincarnation.
Okay. Reincarnate. Either way,
he's a good midfielder. He's a very good midfielder. They signed a superstar, and the fact that he's still like what 21, 22,
23, I believe.
You got him for 10 years. Like this deal just makes sense. He's a Galactico.
Yeah,
and he already won.
And there's very few players in the world that have again that influence.
Yes, that's what I was about to say.
He is up there as one of the most influential players in the world.
On the pitch, he's goated, but off the pitch too, bro. This guy's a commercial dream.
Yeah.
This guy probably could get a brand deal with any company he wants in the world. So like, if you're Real Madrid, and Real Madrid have this thing where they own every player, it's standard, except for like, I think Ronaldo was the first one to break it. 50% of image rights they own.
Wow.
So every deal that Jude Bellingham brings in, they get 50% of it. So
they're happy.
they kind of signed him to a 360 deal. If you join Real Madrid, 360 deal.
Would you put him above RÜdiger in the Galactico
Yes,
sphere?
Because you get an icon of a generation.
Fair.
We're gonna look back in 20 years. It's gonna be like Kroos for 30 mil. You're gonna be like, what the fuck? You get him for 100 mil.
So Bellingham will be in the Galactico tier, but above RÜdiger, which I think is the best place for him. The next one, though, unfortunately, is not on that Bellingham level. It is Fran Garcia. Coming from Rayo Vallecano for 5 million euros, Fran Garcia looked to be another support piece to help Real Madrid win silverware. But this season, he has played a lot more and has disappointed many people. Where does he rank on this list?
We could be harsh here.
We could be extremely hard, but 5 million from Rayo Vallecano.
He was signed to be a backup.
Agreed.
And he's been a backup. That's what he's been. But in the grand scheme of things, it's very Illarramendi-esque.
Think about it. I agree, because think about it. Carvajal was bought for 5 mil. Well, how much? Oh, no, sorry.
6.5 mil.
6.5 mil. Listen, you bought
That's a Galactico, bro.
I know, but that, I mean, Fran Garcia has been atrocious.
Even
as a starter, he's given his chance to be a starter this year, and he was atrocious.
I don't think it was the jump he wasn't ready.
No.
For that jump, unfortunately. Rayo Vallecano and Real Madrid are two different things, but yeah, unfortunately, in that backup role, if he had a strong starter in front of him, I'm sure he would have done well in better situations. But when you're starting games or you're coming on when you're like
He even
down,
looks out of place when he's starting games.
Very out of place.
Yeah.
Like he looks just not to the level required. I can't justify putting him in the same tier as Alaba, James, Chicharito, or TchouamÉni, so I'm gonna have to say ass. But it's a harsh ass. He's the best of the ass.
So we're putting him at the top of ass.
Yes. Like if your boy goes to the club and pulls like a level of Fran Garcia, like you're telling him, bro, that was bad, but it wasn't like that bad, you know.
Wasn't Illarramendi bad?
It wasn't a Lucas Silva.
It was bad.
Unfortunately, we think Fran Garcia is not Real Madrid caliber, but we'll just have to wait and see. The next one, though, definitely made his mark on Real Madrid. It is Joselu. A questionable signing at first, Joselu joined Real Madrid on loan with very low expectations, but left as a Real Madrid cult hero. Where does he rank amongst these players?
What a signing.
I won't say Galactico.
It's not, but honestly,
Because I won't. Because if he hasn't played there.
This is Galactico.
No, okay, wait,
This
no.
is not Galactico.
If
Okay, good.
If Manchester United made this signing, it would potentially be up there as one of the best signings. But
What is your Joselu glaze?
bro, he scored 20 goals. They brought him in for shekels.
Bro, so this is what it is. They loaned him from Espanyol for 500,000, and then they purchased him after
and sold
for
him right
1.5
after.
million.
They bought him to sell him.
Yeah, pretty much.
So they made money on the transfer,
they
but
won a
they got a CL out of it and got 20 goals.
And I would also like to say, unfortunately, Real Madrid this season, it kind of looks like they are missing a player like Joselu.
Bro, this is honestly, like, it's crazy to say Galactico. I'm not going to say it. It's a streets won't forget. But, bro, this could have been in Galactico. Just off value for money, it could have been in Galactico.
This is a very, very good player.
I am in disbelief that you guys are even mentioning that this guy could be in a Galactico conversation.
Brother, when you come in and you literally do everything you possibly can to get yourself, your team, a Champions League trophy and a La Liga, brother, for 1.5 million, you take that and you run.
I would put him in streets forgot. He's gonna be forgotten.
What?
He's gonna be forgotten, my brother.
No, he won't. He won a Champions League. He's
You're the
immortalized.
only one who's talking about Joselu.
Bro, legend.
Bro, he was a key
Idolo.
part of a Real Madrid Champions League run. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't say he alone was.
Of course not.
Bro, he scored 20. You remember the goal that he scored,
Okay, but-
the game winner?
But you hype up Vinny a lot. Vinny was part of that.
Vinny's a Galactico as well, so yeah.
To me, putting this guy in a Galactico. So you're putting Joselu
No, I said
as big as Vinny's
it would be disrespectful to the players who are in Galactico to put him in Galactico, so we'll put him in Streets Won't Forget.
I say he's above Camavinga right now.
No.
No,
Brother.
like
there.
it's right there.
He's there,
It's
okay,
right
on the
there,
same
bro.
level,
You made
but-
money on a striker who
If we
won
put him-
UCL.
If we put him in Streets Won't Forget, he's the last one there. He's below Isco.
Low-key better than Keylor Navas.
No, not Keylor Navas, because that was a reliable starter. And Joselu wasn't there for long enough, I would say. But the mark that he made, you can't ask more of a striker, of a support piece that you bought specifically to be a backup or whatever. He comes in and he's a star.
20 goals, bro. He was an undisputed starter by the end of the season.
And then he got shipped off.
You made money on him. There's no negatives to the transfer. You can't name me a negative.
Joselu being the most contentious on this list, I did not expect that. But the next one is a Turkish Don that people are begging for him to get more playing time. It is Arda GÜler. The Turkish phenom Arda GÜler joined Real Madrid from Fenerbahce with very high expectations and a lot of hype. This season, he didn't get a lot of playing time, so there's a lot of questions around the player. Where does he rank amongst Carlo Ancelotti's signings?
How much was he?
24 million.
Yeah, that's good.
This is a
I could be harsh.
the streets have forgotten. Man.
Streets forgot. I agree, Mili.
The streets have forgotten.
This is worse than Joselu.
In terms of
Yes.
impact, but in terms of potential, he's better, obviously.
But we work on absolutes. At Real Madrid, they don't work on... That's a Man United
talking
Milan
about?
thing. We work on potential.
Yeah, hope.
They
brother.
work on what the actually done at the club.
Brother, we're talking about even like a Bellingham potential. Like we mentioned potential.
Yeah, but he did it right away.
Bellingham's a top 3, 4, 5 player in the world right now.
Okay.
Arda GÜler on potential is maybe a top 50 player in the world.
He's a very, very good player. I'll give him that. But jump to Real Madrid and
Barely gets minutes.
doesn't really get much. But he does well when he gets minutes.
If Arda GÜler were to leave right now, would you say his stint at the club was a success?
We barely see him. Like we don't see him.
And he didn't do enough to break into the starting 11 in a season
young,
where
brother.
in a season where injuries have been rampant.
Streets forgot. I'd argue even ass, but I'll say Streets forgot.
The streets
not
won't
us.
forget, bro. We're talking about Champions League winners here.
He's low-key worse than all these Streets forgot transfers.
I don't know, because he's still very young. It's very difficult.
Yeah,
It's hard to
Very
judge him.
difficult to say.
So you give him the benefit of the doubt, you say Streets forgot.
Ferms, what do you think?
I can't put him. It's tough to put him in Streets Won't Forget because you're looking at Isco, Navas, Camavinga, somehow Joselu, but
Somehow.
you can't put him there. You got to put him Streets Forgot, and he's definitely not ass. That's for sure.
But let's say streets have forgotten now. But if we look back
Yes.
3-4 years and maybe he does well, then I would say
move up.
I think this guy's gonna cook with Xabi Alonso. If he just needs game time, because then that's when we'll see his potential.
At Real Madrid, you're not just given game time. You need to earn game time.
He'll earn it.
Arda GÜler, we will have to wait to see how your future holds at Real Madrid in order to bump you up. The next one, though, boys, we are back in between the posts. It was Kepa Arrizabalaga. After some mixed years at Chelsea, Kepa Arrizabalaga joined Real Madrid for 1 million euros on loan, but unfortunately didn't do enough to extend his stay at Real Madrid. Where does he rank amongst these signings?
So are we putting him ass?
He low-key was not ass.
It was streets. This is like either bottom, streets won't forgotten,
Yes.
or ass. Like
Top of ass.
Probably top of ass, but bro, low-key when he came in, he was actually decent for Real Madrid when they needed that injury relief.
Yeah.
But the standards, once again, we're gonna mention the standards. This is ass.
I would say ass.
It's right next to Fran Garcia.
Yeah.
After Illarramendi though. So Illarramendi gets pushed down.
Yes.
Kepa.
Yeah.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
it wasn't really that significant. The $1 million loan got to
Yeah.
play at Real Madrid.
But he actually played. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't a $1 million loan that he didn't play. He actually played when Courtois got injured and was actually impactful. But then Lunin took his spot, I believe. So
So the guy was asked that. So asked that Lunin took his spot. Got it. Kepa will be added to the ass tier, gentlemen. We are nearing the end of Carlo Ancelotti's fantastic signing resume. The next one up. This one, gentlemen. Let's see if it's a Galactico. It is Kylian MbappÉ. Arguably one of the most hyped transfers of all time, Kylian MbappÉ finally joined Real Madrid on a free transfer. Does this make him Carlo Ancelotti's biggest ever signing?
I know where I'm putting him.
where are you putting him?
Galactico. Same concept of Bellingham. You got the best player in the world at one point, and you got him for free, okay? Agent fees, whatever the fuck
Yeah,
it
but
was.
was he the best player in the world while he was at Madrid?
But he
This
did
year?
break Real Madrid goal scoring record for his first season. He has contributed. I think the issue is that in the biggest games that everyone, even casuals, are watching, he may not necessarily be getting the performances.
This year, brother,
Just scored a
hat-trick
hat-trick.
against Man City, hat-trick against Barcelona.
Yes, I agree. But in quarterfinals versus Arsenal, you're telling me he was
But the whole team
world
was-
class?
Yeah, the whole team was.
I know, but everyone's going to look at Mbappe. Everyone's
No, but
gonna
I
be
agree.
looking at
It's
Mbappe.
it's a Galactico.
It is
definitely
definitely Galactico. That's not even
Brother, you
a
were
question.
debating Joselu Galactico.
we
You're not
can
gonna
make
put Mbappe there.
Okay, anyways,
God
Mbappe
damn.
Galactico.
No, but
Let's go anyway. Don't gotta talk about
Mili
it.
was speaking facts, like, and you were saying best player in the world. He's not been the best player in the world at Real Madrid.
No, not this season.
But so then I don't care. Like, I don't care if he was the best player at PSG when I'm making a Carlo Ancelotti Real Madrid tier list.
But Mbappe could be the best player at Real Madrid. I think the qualities are there. Mbappe is the best player at Real Madrid, but this season, obviously, Real Madrid as a whole
Vinny
hasn't
would
been
like
good.
a word, but that's okay.
Who?
Vinny.
Mbappe is better than Vinny.
No,
What
he's
are we
not.
talking
No,
about?
He's not. No, he's not.
Oh my God.
No, he's not.
Listen, for free on paper, getting Mbappe for free definitely puts you in Galactico.
Yes.
Just- even if he flops, still a free.
Forget Vinny. Honestly, you could bring up Bellingham, Valverde, but
Valverde.
Mbappe is better than Vinny.
Valverde.
Getting dunked on by Fermin.
Yeah, no, Mbappe is better than Valverde too.
Mbappe, definitely Galactico tier, no debate there. But gentlemen, we are now down to Carlo Ancelotti's final transfer as Real Madrid head coach. And it is a Brazilian wonder kid. It is Endrick. One of the hottest prospects in all of Brazil since Neymar. Endrick came to Real Madrid with the hopes of him becoming one of the next Brazilian greats. It didn't happen in his first year, but does that make him one of the worst signings in Carlo Ancelotti's career?
Bobby.
Bobby Charlton.
Iconic nickname, can't lie. Iconic nickname.
Well, Palmeiras,
But
this guy
only-
looks destined.
Only if your performances were as iconic as your nickname, maybe you wouldn't be in f***ing ass.
This is, ass is very, very, very
I
hard.
saw him recently, and Europeans may not understand the magnitude of this. He is the face of New Balance, okay? New Balance, I'm pretty sure, on their commercials, I was so surprised. There were world-class basketball players, world-class, every single sport, world-class athletes, and at the end, you see Endrick speaking to the camera.
Endrick is their face
It's the
of football.
That's how disappointing and underwhelming he's been at Real Madrid. People were expecting that, I believe. So,
What's the problem? I don't get it. You just put at the back, you mean?
bro, there was like Kawhi Leonard and stuff like that, like for basketball.
What
that
Varvar's
are,
saying
like,
is that the top athletes in other sports were
They're always top.
were at New Balance, but then their football face is Endrick.
no, the face of the commercial.
Oh, yeah,
he
he
was
was-
like
he was- I
meant to
saw
be
that
like the Michael Jordan of the commercial.
I think it's been very harsh because obviously his Palmeiras stint was iconic. The amount of photos, the amount of moments, and then going to Real Madrid, it looked destined. He looked destined. So I don't even know.
Up until now, he's ass.
This is Streets Have Forgotten. He's
No,
next to
he's
Güler.
ass.
How much was he?
That's the issue.
Bro, we put Arda,
47.5 million.
Very tough.
we put Arda GÜler in Streets Forgot. He's been better than Endrick.
Yes.
He
Yeah,
has. That's not. We can't even debate that. He
I
has.
think it's good. It's okay that we put him as.
Top of ass. Better than Fran Garcia.
Bro,
Yeah,
he was
top.
40 mil. If he were to leave right now, after spending 40 mil, you'd consider that the worst transfer on Ancelotti's CV, probably.
Yeah.
It's true.
Either that or Lucas Silva. It probably is going to still be Lucas Silva, but he'd be one of the worst ones.
He did score a couple of nice goals though.
Sure, but
Like, the quality's there,
what's the
just-
standard, bro?
Yeah, I know.
It's Real Madrid we're talking about here,
Agreed.
not Barcelona.
Let's be critical. Or Manchester United.
So, boys, we have gone through all the signings, but now we have to figure out who is Carlo Ancelotti's best ever signing at Real Madrid. Who are you voting for?
I'm gonna let you guys vote first because I'm kind of torn between two, so I want to see. Millie, you already made your
I'm
stance
a
clear.
Kroos
I'm torn
enjoyer.
between three, believe it or not.
Three. Which ones? Carvajal, Casemiro, Kroos.
You got it.
I'm
I
torn
think
between
Kroos
those
though.
three also.
Kroos has reached best midfielder in the world, especially that Champions League winning season of 2 years ago. I think
I was between Casemiro, Kroos, but I'll give it to Casemiro just as a charity vote. But
No.
Kroos was,
Kroos is special.
bro. Kroos was
Casemiro was what,
6 mil.
6 mil?
6 mil for a top 2 CDM of the generation. That's
I know, but the market opportunity. I like the scouting of that was top tier, but market opportunity. Kroos from
Yeah,
a
you're
Champions
right.
League winning
Yes,
squad.
You're
Kroos.
So we have crowned Toni Kroos as Carlo Ancelotti's best ever signing for Real Madrid. Shout out to Casemiro and Carvajal as well. But as always, we want to thank our patrons for the continuous support you guys show us week in and week out. We love you guys. We can't wait to see you on the next video.
And we actually just released this midweek, I believe, the CL final auction. So if you guys are interested in those auction style videos, I know a couple of you guys keep asking for them. We put it on our Patreon. We don't make stuff like that on our main channel anymore, but there's definitely a lot of patrons that ask for it. So we definitely put it out for you guys. And we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Peace out. Ciao.